What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Gamechat Podcast, episode number 10. This time, we're just talking only about Xbox. Xbox is leaking everywhere. They've had their biggest leak to date, due to it's some craziness. We'll talk about it, but I did want to introduce my panelists, starting with Trayvon. Welcome back, Trayvon. You gotta tell us what you've been playing recently, and yeah, what you been playing recently.
Let's see. So I need to get back to playing Final Fantasy. I played. I've been testing a game. Can't say what that game is. And what was it? The First Descendant. We tried that out the other day.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Mm.
And I'm excited about. Right now, it's all up for me. It's about I know this is the Xbox, but a game went gold today that I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
I won't mention it right now. It's fine.
Funny enough, I saw that news on LinkedIn.
Yeah. That's it. I'm just excited for games that are coming.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I'm with you. Next up, Mike. What you been playing? What you been up to, man? Also, welcome back. I feel like it's been a minute since you've been on this podcast.
Yeah, I think I missed like the last two, unfortunately.
That, I think.
Oh, dang.
Called you out. He's tracking you, bro.
I'm back.
I'm not tracking, but at the same time, like, I don't know, a lot of missed invites. He's a busy man.
Okay, well, I mean, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake because I still have stuff to do there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a long game. I think I've put in like 120 hours into that game.
Yeah,
I still have a little more to do. And Street Fighter 6. I need to get good enough to beat Brandon.
Ooh.
And I'm not good enough yet. He's been playing like his entire life. I've been playing for like a month. So I'm trying to hone my skills.
You playing on controller?
Remember what Brandon's main? What's Brandon?
Brandon is Ken, I think.
Ooh, classic.
Or Guile, both. He goes through both.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
The
And you?
blondies.
Yeah. Yeah, and mine's just Chun-Li, so we're trying to get that work in.
You like the legs. I see.
There.
Well, not denied that, I guess. You're not entirely wrong.
What do you like, Nikki?
Yeah. Also, I say also.
Joel, I'll put my mouse on the screen so everybody can see. You're a proud Xbox playa-hater for this year.
I like the year on there. Like, is he running for president? 2023 Xbox playa-hater.
I guess he was the number one.
Yeah, of the year, this year.
So I assume.
Especially.
Yeah, we might have to unpack that. I don't know, but I assume you haven't been playing any Xbox games. So tell me about the games you have been playing recently.
Oh man, I don't remember the last time I played an Xbox. Well, I don't know, but what have I played recently? I just finished Final Fantasy 16. I just finished the story mode of Mortal Kombat 1. So right now I'm going through Invasions. I kind of feel like there's less stress now that I finished Final Fantasy. So I'm ready for Spider-Man when that comes out. And I'm actually looking forward to Mario Wonder. So those two games I'm looking forward for the end of the year.
Tears of the Kingdom
and to eventually... No, that's going to be my end of the year game.
He's saving it. I respect it.
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on you, Joel. Like,
it's
there's so much I want to say, but I don't want to spoil.
It's gonna take a lot of my time, so I'm making sure it's last.
Yeah, that is true. I'm like over 160 hours now.
Wow,
That's a great thing.
That is a good thing. It's a very good thing. I feel ready to. I mean, it was on my own free will. It was on my own free will.
I get it.
I'm definitely ready to kind of close this chapter of my gaming journey for this year and move on to another game. But I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having a lot of fun. So it's a good relationship.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah, Spider-Man's coming soon. I still am working on Final Fantasy 16 actually, so I'm playing both of them at the same time, which is probably why I haven't finished either one. So hopefully, hopefully I'll wrap up one sooner rather than later. Didge, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, I've dabbled in Starfield. I will throw that out there.
Yeah.
I too played the first. So was it the first Survivor, first Descendant?
Oh, first Descendant, yeah.
As Trayvon said, it was a game. It was only a beta. It was a beta, so I'll give it some hope. Mm-hmm. And I've been playing Demonologist actually a lot too.
Oh Lord.
I wonder what that's like.
You hunt for demons and ghosts.
Do you fight them, or is it like a detective game?
It's like a detective style.
Oh no. Let me ask you,
I thought this was Demon Slayer at first.
Oh no. I mean, it's a different kind, but it's not
definitely.
Have you been streaming this, or you just been playing it casually?
I was playing it casually. I was second controller to someone. I want to be actually playing first player when I do stream it.
I see. Gotcha. Well, good. It seems like I guess y'all we're caught up somewhat. We're current-ish, I guess. I don't know. There's been a lot of games that have dropped this year, and a lot of long games that have dropped this year.
Seriously.
So it's kind of hard to keep up.
It's stressful.
I don't know if anybody's touched. It has been slightly stressful. I don't know if anybody touched Armored Core. We do have Joel representing the Mortal Kombat 1. Starfield, I don't think any of us have really put a lot of time into that.
I put enough time into it.
Ooh. I turned it on.
Yikes.
I played a couple hours and I was like, okay, I'll come back to play some more.
I was around the same. I played a couple hours and I was like, you know what? This doesn't have to be an everyday play.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. I'm really trying to lean into the role play and build my character out. So hopefully that's what I've heard. If you try to role play with it, you have the better experience. So I don't usually do that when I play games.
What character type did you go with?
I picked the Ronin, which apparently is the worst class in the game. So that's unfortunate.
That's
the only reason it's the worst class is because it specs into hand-to-hand combat and using weapons that
melee
you hold.
weapons?
Yeah, melee weapons. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of it. And there's apparently not a lot of melee weapons in the game. But in my time playing, I killed maybe, I don't know how many people I killed, but I found 3 different, granted they were all axes, but it's still 3 different melee weapons, I guess. Hopefully there will be some other things. But yeah, I'm getting what I wanted out of Starfield, personally. I thought the gunplay looked way more interesting than, the exploration aspects. I already knew when they said, over 100 planets, I'm like, yeah, there's no way they put the time needed into, some of these planets to make them interesting. Yeah, but the gunplay...
And they didn't.
Yeah, but the gunplay looks cool, or it feels good. Some of the enemies are kind of creep me out, but that's just gaming for me.
It's a win.
I run into creepy enemies. The likes and Tears of the Kingdom, I also don't like them. I'm used to seeing them now, but I ran into a room where there was 4 of them, and they all just turned around like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Oh no." I gotta take a step back. Yep. But yeah, we're trying to stay on top of things, guys. We also don't have unlimited money either, so that's a factor. It's a factor. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, send us some games. We'll stay up to date. Send us some games. But yeah, on to the big news story, probably for the rest of the month, is Xbox is kind of wrapping up its case with the FTC as to why they should be able to what is the word? Oh my gosh.
The deal.
Close the deal. Acquire.
Close acquisition?
Yeah. Why they should be able to acquire Activision Blizzard King, and they submitted some documents that were not redacted, and those documents then went out to the public. So some private information became very public information very quickly. And
how quickly do you think that person got fired?
It depends on who did it. If it was Phil Spencer, you're like, "Oop, my bad, y'all."
Fair, okay, yeah, that's fair.
But
yeah, like, I don't know how high of a position you would have to be to handle this document in the first place. You know?
Yeah.
I assume a paralegal. I'm not gonna lie. I assume like this is all stuff that you would just give to your paralegal to like, all right, make sure the court has this.
It's crazy because like we had, I can't even say a similar leak happened in this court case, but earlier in the case, PlayStation leaked some information. There's some financial information as far as like how much it costs to do The Last of Us and Horizon and things like that. It was a little bit better. Somebody used a black marker instead of a pen made for redacting documents. I don't know why they thought it was gonna work, but that's
guess they thought we wouldn't squint hard enough to see it.
I guess, I don't know. But that's the only reason why that information leaked. Microsoft straight up said, "Here's the document. It's perfect for reading at any angle, like no editing needed." Which was unfortunate. Because like Phil Spencer said in response to like all the leaks and stuff that have come out, like, the team works very hard and don't want to have like the surprises for the community like ruined in this way. But then he also put out an email earlier today that it was clearly made to be leaked, where he was saying like, this was unfortunate, that we should still be proud of like the work we've done and like looking forward to the future of the cool stuff we got going for us, pretty much was the gist of it. But yeah, we're going to be going off the article written by Taylor Lyles at IGN. Shout out to Taylor. And some of the information that's being discussed has already been talked about, but still, like, it's just kind of floating around. So we'll acknowledge it. One being that Nintendo briefed the execs at Activision Blizzard about the Switch successor, and a note from Bobby Kotick, the dickhole at Activision, said that the Switch 2 is more aligned to a PS4 or an Xbox One, which has continued to be kind of like the hints that we've been getting as far as like the leaks and stuff goes with the different testing of the Switch 2 that's the like I guess test model for it is out there apparently.
Yeah.
Because we're already having issues with Xbox Series S having compatibility issues, so if it's even lesser than that, that's a problem.
Yeah.
For me, it's DOA. I have no interest in it now.
DOA.
It won't get any of the newer games.
Like, yeah, it killed any interest that I had.
I'm still open to it, and it's like, part of it is just like, I'm a sucker for Zelda, so I'll just keep playing Zelda as long as they keep putting it out. But the other thing is, I feel like some of the like DLSS technology and like other technologies that they're developing to support like lower end hardware or like mid tier hardware to help perform to compare to like these consoles like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. I have hope that maybe Nintendo will be able to utilize that to try and compete in some way. But it's just hope for right now. It's just hope.
I just hope that maybe they get it to these developers and developers like, oh hey, we can work with this, rather than, oh my god, this is gonna be stressful.
Yeah.
To make this game work.
I mean, we recently saw Mortal Kombat 1 come to the Switch, and the memes and things that were being created from some of those images are really funny, but also really sad to see.
It's insane because it's like I think, Mike, we were talking about it off air yesterday. Yeah. They didn't bring it to the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One because they couldn't do it. And they clearly just forced it to bring it to the Switch. So your new system is going to essentially be something that, along the lines of the power of something that they said they couldn't do. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's the same thing that the Switch did, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
and that's the I think that's the frustrating part, because we've seen what the Switch has become. Like, it started off hot, everybody loved it, it was great. Having your main home Nintendo console being also your portable console, great idea. Changed the game. But then we quickly realized that, yeah, this thing it was built on dated hardware when it came out. So 4 years into the Switch's life cycle, the cracks started to show up a little bit, and now it's really bad towards the end of its life cycle. And so I think that's why you see more pessimism, because being able to have something as powerful as my PS4 on the go sounds great, because I just got rid of my PS4 not too long ago. So like the idea of that is cool, but we now have the information and the foresight to be like, yeah, but this thing's only going to be any good for the next 3-4 years max, and then the rest of that life cycle, it's going to be right back where we are now, where it feels dated, where it can't handle certain games, where games can't get ported over, or we get a Mortal Kombat 1 situation. There's no reason Mortal Kombat should have been $70 if it looks that bad.
And that's the other part of it. It's not like their price was any cheaper, so you really feel like you got a horrible deal, because you look at everybody else's and then you're like, I just got fed crap. Great.
Who bought that game for that system?
Some parent whose kid wanted to play Mortal Kombat, and they didn't know it.
They did not know what was in the game, if that was the case.
Well, that's the only system they had, and they wanted the game. You know,
also true.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unfortunate because, like, if it's like this, what if the next generation Switch still only has Nintendo games? That's it. Like, that's the point for me. Like, if I have a Switch 2, I want it to be able to get these games that come out. But if it's that quality, they're not. I don't want the developers to work to do it. That's I'm like, I don't even.
It's a waste of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, give me the best PS5 game you give me.
That's why someone like Insomniac has said we're not putting Spider-Man 2 on the PS4, because it's just a waste of resources at that point. They want to be able to just work on the new modern hardware that they have. Yeah. And so if they're forced to constantly make ports, and we've seen this with Xbox too, right? Where it's like the Baldur's Gate isn't coming to Xbox because they have to take time to develop a lesser version for it to work. Yeah. And so that the Switch is going to run into that very same problem very quickly.
And speaking to Baldur's Gate, actually, there was Baldur's Gate 3 was also included in the leak, where Xbox was looking at their portfolio and talking about, like, okay, what games can we potentially put on Game Pass? In Baldur's Gate 3, they just, I guess, didn't have much faith in it. So they were being criticized pretty heavily for that. But then the developer actually, pretty nice guy to do this, or pretty nice person, I should say. Don't know if it's a guy or girl. They came out and said, like, you know what? I can't really blame Xbox because a lot of other people were doubting us too. Like, pretty much all the other consoles did the same thing. So don't crap on Xbox for that. But I guess, I don't know, they might have dodged a bullet with that because it doesn't run on the S and the X anyway, so they couldn't really have put it on Game Pass anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, when you say it doesn't run, like, that's the reason it's not on there, not just because they're trying to make a lesser version?
Well,
like,
there's one feature on the S, I can't even remember what it is now, but there's one feature on the S that does not work properly in Baldur's Gate 3, and that's why they're not releasing the game for both consoles.
It was something with multiplayer, because I think they just ended up just taking out. Yeah, they just took it completely out. So, like, that's what's gonna be weird. You're gonna, like, I'm assuming it's gonna be digital only at this point, because are you going to have cases that say Series S and Series X? Like, you got to know how to be able to differentiate those two versions, which is wild to say for something that's in the same generation.
Yeah, that's what all digital is coming.
I'm still.
Oh man, yeah, that's. We'll talk more to that a little bit. I'm kind of scared about it. But something else that was also mentioned that we did know about is the fact that Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, wanted to buy Nintendo. This actually sparked quite a bit of controversy among our personal Discord. Um, but yeah, this is just like it's a very interesting topic. There's a lot of ways that you can interpret this and sides that you could pick. But yeah, Phil Spencer had his eye on Nintendo at one point, and now the quote is that like they're playing the long game. So hopes that maybe one day he'll finally get that missing gem from the Infinity Stone, but I don't know how likely that's gonna be. And then they just talked about the fact that 2022 was not a great year for Xbox. I'm like, you didn't need to leak that. Like everybody saw that. that wasn't their shining moment there. Had a big gap because of the push of Starfield and Redfall.
They just delayed everything. I mean,
yeah, there was a lot of internal delays. So now we should be like on the up and up, I hope. It seems like it's almost been a role reversal because PlayStation has had a lot of internal delays, at least from the rumors that have been floating around about some of their not first party, but kind of not third party because they're working more closely together. But I don't even think second party is a thing. But some of the games that they have in the pipeline that they've advertised previously that they said were going to come out this year, some of those have not been talked about at all. And I'm hoping that there will be another PlayStation showcase this year, since they had a pretty poor showing earlier this year, and hoping that some of the games that I've been looking forward to seeing, like Stellar Blade or Rise of Ronin, or maybe even a surprise like Ghost of Tsushima 2, that would be nice. Maybe those would get talked about. But yeah, that's the stuff that we already knew about. Oh, Mike, did you have something to say?
I was just saying, I hope. I don't know if we get another PlayStation showcase. We just had a state of play. I think they're gearing up for Spider-Man, so like, I don't think we get anything in November or December. So, first quarter next year, we probably hear something. The Nintendo story is interesting, I think, because we always assume that Microsoft may want to buy Nintendo, but the fact that that information leaked from 2020,
yeah,
I think is very fascinating, because that's more recent than any of us probably would have anticipated. Because the Switch up to that point was doing very well, so it's not like Nintendo was in a position of weakness. Like if this was during the Wii U, I get it, but
yeah,
it's interesting that they were having those internal talks during like the height of the Nintendo Switch.
And I think not yet to that point of like them trying to get Nintendo at their peak. Like Nintendo really made a big splash with Animal Crossing, and like that like comfy, cozy feeling when everybody was locked down and like really just most people not in a great headspace. So to think that Xbox tried to shoot their shot then it's interesting. It's interesting. But I guess you don't want to come to people when they're at their lowest and be like, well, now you have no choice. But I don't know. It was an interesting proposition, and I don't think it would be a good thing for Xbox and Nintendo to be under one umbrella anyway. But I could see how it'd be advantageous for both parties.
They can do a collaboration, because I mean, they already agreed to put Call of Duty on Nintendo. Yep. Remember? Yep. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like
cried.
Seriously. I wouldn't be surprised though if Nintendo's like, yeah, fine, we'll throw Metroid on there, whatever, it's cool.
That would be
eventually one day. Yuck.
There were rumors that the Game Pass was going to go to Nintendo, like they were going to get some form of Game Pass and have access to a lot of those games in Xbox's library. Clearly, yeah. at least so far, that hasn't panned out. But with the way that Nintendo Online is structured, it's getting better than it was previously, for sure. But having a library like Game Pass, like that's something that Sony is still trying to like prove their worth with PlayStation Plus. So
that Game Pass rumor is interesting because there's also I don't even know if it's a rumor at this point that Microsoft went to Sony and said we'll put Game Pass on PlayStation.
Oh.
So
why didn't they do that? They would have like
Sony said no.
They would have killed big time with that, but
I think a lot of that money would have obviously went to Microsoft at that point, because you got to figure you're only going to get a percentage of it. You're definitely not getting majority percentage if it's your platform on somebody else's, ecosystem. So
I could definitely see how PlayStation would be like, listen, like we have a more dedicated player base. This is just me acting as PlayStation. Not that I think these things, but
sure,
we have a more dedicated player base that's looking for like X, Y, and Z things. We can provide that to you to make Game Pass even more successful. So let's talk about like us having a bigger percentage in the profits or whatever. Like I think they would cut like that kind of a deal, or they wouldn't have Game Pass on the platform, which might have been what happened, but I don't know.
Yeah, it very well could have been. I know they essentially said obviously the information of saying that it was blocked was coming from Microsoft. I don't actually never heard anything from Sony's side, now that I remember. So I'm curious as to what actually happened and what were the discussions, and if it was something like revenue share being the reason why. But all in all, it doesn't surprise me that Microsoft would go to Nintendo and say, hey, we could put Game Pass on there, because that on that vein, at least, they're looking like we can put Game Pass anywhere, because at the end of the day, that's just still more money for us.
Yeah.
You know what the problem would be? You turn on the PlayStation, and then first thing, PlayStation Store just says Xbox Game Pass. That's what Sony did not want. No. They would hate that.
Maybe they do a name change. I don't know. How you change the name. It would just be Game Pass. I don't know. You gotta do something.
It would for sure have to. It would probably be Microsoft Game Pass.
Yeah, I guess the name is an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just say library of games now available.
They just backdoor it, like all the same games are in PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
Just don't tell you.
There you go. Just fold it into PlayStation Plus secretly.
Just have a little tab on the side of each game. Go green. That's all it is.
There you go. Just hide it. Don't tell people. There you go. But yeah, that I don't think that would have been good for gaming in general, but it's an interesting idea to toss around. Some things that we did happen to learn, and I don't know if anybody can really speak to this in this call, including myself, but apparently Bethesda's Elder Scrolls 3, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be an Xbox exclusive, and that it might release as early as 2026. I don't know why they said as early. I feel like they've been talking about this game forever. So I'm like...
They announced it in 2018, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, remember, this is coming, like, this leak is coming from Microsoft, so they gotta be like, it didn't take us that long, guys.
Yeah, I guess.
That's true.
2026 is a wild year to put down. Like, it's coming in 3 years. Like,
the Wonder Woman game is coming at this point.
Oh no, don't. Oh, why did you bring it up? Why did you bring it up there? Speaking of Wonder Woman game, though, there were rumors that among Nintendo, Xbox was also looking to purchase Warner Brothers and Valve. So they could have had something going with them. They would have been in trouble right now with Suicide Squad. Actually, pretty much every Warner Brothers game that's come out since Hogwarts, they would have been in trouble with. But
is Rocksteady a Warner Brothers studio, or is that just like a partnership where they make
I think stuff? It was a partnership, but I am not.
I can look it up real quick.
Okay. It's not like NetherRealm belongs to Warner Brothers.
No, they're a subsidiary.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But I know they're deeply connected to Warner Brothers. It's like,
what I said the Xbox should have did. They were like, get DC to be your, like, DC is your exclusive.
They get Batman.
It would be amazing if they did that, though. Imagine if they
I
did
would
that.
probably commit suicide. I can't.
No.
Anything
God.
Damn.
Near that happen.
Well, don't do it, Xbox. Don't do it.
No, please don't.
But that would be an interesting.
I'm just threatening them with my life is all.
it would be an interesting way to go about it because Sony is very closely tied to Marvel with the Spider-Man games that have come out, and eventually at some point Wolverine.
Spider-Man.
They haven't talked
Keep that
about
in mind.
Wolverine, but at some point Wolverine will come out as well. So Microsoft, they could have put a bit in there.
What was that other game they announced? Is that PlayStation only? The one with Black Panther?
Oh,
No.
no, I don't think that was
That's-
PlayStation
that's
only.
multi- That's not-
right.
I
forgot.
think the
Yeah.
only ones that are PlayStation exclusive are the Insomniac games, which would be
Mhm.
Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just take a second though and acknowledge that Warner Brothers and their games are also partnered with PlayStation. Like, do you know how many exclusive skins? Like, there are still skins
Yeah.
in Batman Arkham Knight that aren't on Xbox because they're still PlayStation exclusives.
They did
So-
one of the state of plays had like a Hogwarts section in it, so
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, the PlayStation had an exclusive part in the Hogwarts game. So,
oh, did they? I didn't even
yeah,
know.
yeah, it was exclusive.
Did I
Mission.
Like,
It's under the shop. Did you play that? Under the shop thing.
I did a couple things on the shops. I don't remember.
Mm.
I don't know what shop.
So-
When you, the
yeah.
shop you own when you're owner of it, and you get trapped under it. That was
yeah.
exclusive to PlayStation.
I had no idea. Look at that.
But I mean, as we've seen with like Atlas and some of the Sega games, those partnerships can quickly change depending on who you're talking to, but it probably more importantly, who's got the money. So you never know. You never know.
I mean, Microsoft has money up their ass. So
They do.
Yeah.
what can't they buy? At this point, if they wanted to.
Man.
I honestly thought that I remember like years ago I thought what their goal with Game Pass was to eventually not even need a console and eventually have some kind of maybe USB stick like a Chromecast or something you just plug into a TV and just play like that. That's what I thought their goal was for it.
Yeah.
I do still think that's their goal. I think that, and obviously we haven't gotten to it yet. I think this is just sort of a step towards that.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so actually moving into like another huge leak is Xbox mid-generation refresh and the new controller design, which now it's kind of weird a little bit. I don't like that.
They
much.
gave it pants
They
for some
did?
reason. I don't get it.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. It's strange. But the Xbox is no longer a box, which is also weird. I don't really like that much. But we have
I feel like the design. It's the Mac trash can all over again. I actually
Yeah.
like that design.
Oh,
I get-
Xbox
I
trash
don't
can's
know. It's
back,
just
but it's an actual Xbox this time. The
oh,
X
man.
cylinder. What do we call
Yeah,
it?
it's a
Cylinder,
cylinder.
I guess.
I hate that. No, it's still the Xbox.
It's
Leave
not
it.
a box though,
It's the
dude.
C box now, or no, the X cylinder X cylinder. I don't know.
Excel. Excel.
Are we sure it's completely round? We just
It
seen the
looks
front
pretty
part.
round.
It
in the
looks pretty
picture.
round.
It might be like this. Maybe it's like round in front.
Do
Then.
they have edges?
So like a
Right.
semi-sphere?
Yeah, maybe.
That would be worse. I
Still
would
not
rather have a
box.
cylinder.
X-hemisphere? That'd be horrible.
Or maybe it's like round, but then it's like a angle at the back. Like so it's
Box
like
is a
round.
cube mostly.
Like a cone?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
something like that. Yeah.
Weird.
We gotta think. Like the
the
picture
picture?
said it would be portable. I can't imagine that shape is doing too well. you know?
Portable is interesting.
So it's
Yeah.
like a mobile.
All digital up there. I
speakers.
see that.
Yeah, both models. The Brooklyn, spelled with an I and not a Y, is the code name for the Series X successor, and the Elwood is the code name for the Series S successor. And
is
neither
the-
console have a disk drive, so it would be all digital, which is
2 terabyte
What is-
of space.
yep,
It's
2
a-
terabytes.
You need
Seem
it if
like
you're gonna
things
go all
are
digital.
going. I think part of that is it seems like Xbox is also trying to push a sustainability initiative, which is cool. Like, we like sustainability. We like not trying to burst into flames on the planet. And
Always great.
that's always nice. And I was actually talking with somebody, earlier today about like the future of gaming, and he was saying that the likelihood of everybody going discless is probably pretty high because the discs, like all they're gonna do after so long is just go into a landfill and they continue to pollute the planet. So that, and it makes it easier to preserve games if the government allows people to get access to those files. But it makes it easier to preserve games instead of having to dig up like an old Atari or something and then try and make sure it's working and then try to get the cartridge in and make sure the cartridge is working and like all of that kind of stuff.
Good old days.
Before they do this, though, they got to make sure the internet is strong enough in this country.
Yeah, you know what? The same guy, we talked about that as well. Apparently, he was saying that it's looking like they're putting down lines for 8G, and then 5G is like not as good as everybody thinks it is. So he's like, they're already working on 8G, which is crazy to think about. And it did look like from the picture that I read about the Brooklyn and the Elwood that it was talking about like faster Wi-Fi speeds or something like that, being able to connect to the internet and have like a much more stable connection and things like that. So I could definitely, if what I'm hearing is true, I could see that trend coming to fruition there. It's just weird to think that, I don't know.
Ethernet jack.
Ethernet jack?
I don't Ethernet jack.
Oh,
I don't see it. To be fair, I don't see it.
Do you see the back though?
Well, they're listing everything that they would have. If you still have Ethernet hookup,
they would say
most text things would say it.
I don't know.
They went heavy on saying faster Wi-Fi, and sometimes if they go faster Wi-Fi, that means because that's all you got.
I need.
We'll have to see.
Plug in.
I honestly don't plug my consoles into an Ethernet jack.
I plug in everything I can, every single day.
Same.
See, my
I don't
house,
think I have a single thing plugged in over here.
Got me a nice little.
my Ethernet jacks barely work, so that's why I don't do it. But if they worked, I would do it, but they don't. So
it's so much better.
With OLED came with the Ethernet jack. I was very happy. I was like, yep.
Yeah, they should have done that in the first place, but
I always got to dig out my Ethernet cables.
It is what it is. We also had, as part of the news, Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion are getting remastered. I don't think any of us have played those, but yay, I suppose.
I played a bit of Fallout 3, not a lot.
Yeah, Fallout 3 it's alright.
Not enough for me to be like, oh yeah, it was great or bad. I played maybe 30 minutes.
You guys not picking up the remaster there.
No.
Maybe on Game Pass.
Oh, then we might be in there.
I'll watch the movie or what, the show, right?
Yeah, the show is coming out. Well, I mean, with the strikes, who knows when the show is coming out? But it's in the works. Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised.
Before we get too far off, Elder Scrolls 6. When is Bethesda just going to tell us they make Xbox exclusives? It's okay. Just say it. It's okay. Nobody's going to be mad.
Well, to be fair, they couldn't say it. Remember, this is all still from that court document. They couldn't say it there because one of their big things was, well, no, it's good. Stuff is still going to come out. So it's wild that they put it into that document that, oh yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 will be. But yeah, they couldn't just go across the board saying like, yeah, once we acquire, stuff becomes Xbox exclusive because then it undermines their entire defense.
Yeah.
See, that is true, but I also feel like maybe they could do like the timed exclusive thing so it's not truly an exclusive, because ultimately Xbox wants money. Like they recognize that a lot of people say that Xbox has no games, so they're working on like having some more games exclusive to the platform, but ultimately they want as many people to have access to their games as possible so they can make as much money as possible. So I can see Bethesda games becoming exclusive, but I think it's more likely, if anything, they would be timed.
I was worried when they bought Bethesda. I was like, what the? And I checked all the games. No, I'm good. They could keep.
Yeah, I wasn't worried either. When I saw it, I was like, I don't play a lot of these games. Whatever.
Didge, what's going on, man? What's going on?
I don't.
Yeah, you don't have a console?
But I'm saying a lot of these games that Bethesda, like, if you look at the ones, I don't play a lot of them. Like, it's just, it is what it is. They're just not a.
It is. Yeah.
I can't even tell you what games they have.
They got Fallout, Skyrim. They put out
Halo,
Starfield.
right?
Say what?
That's not Halo, right?
No.
Okay.
They put out Deathloop. Technically Hi-Fi Rush is a Bethesda game because
Ghostwire
Tango Works is
Tokyo.
under that, and Ghostwire Tokyo is technically a Bethesda game as well. Yeah, got a few.
A lot of those are first person, right?
Yes.
Another reason.
A decent amount.
Hi-Fi Rush is great though. Like Bethesda, give them some more money. I love this game. But yeah, they're working on the exclusives there. I didn't even think about it. Also, Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones game will be that's made by Bethesda technically.
That one intrigued me. I was like, oh, that's good.
I didn't like Indiana Jones the movie.
I'm salty
I definitely
about
wouldn't
it.
play the game.
Oh, Digits a hater, but you know, Digits a hater. So we don't have to.
Did you not like Uncharted? That's what the game would just kind of be.
I love the Uncharted series from afar. I've only played I told you I didn't have a PlayStation console for a while. So when I finally got the Vita, I was like, yes, I can finally play Uncharted. I actually loved that experience so much. It was a great Uncharted game.
Uncharted's a great fucking series.
It's great. So the fact that, Todd Howard, even though I have mixed feelings about him, the fact that he's such an Indiana Jones fan apparently and wants to put that on that experience on Xbox, I'm like, okay, Todd, all right, let him cook. We'll see what happens. But we have not heard jack shit about it pretty much since announcement. So I'm like, all right, Todd, you gotta give me something. He did do an interview recently where he talked about it, and I think he said something along the lines of like, I'll talk to you guys next year or something. So hopefully 2024 we'll get an update, if not a release date that's in 2024.
I'm convinced PlayStation's gonna beat them and make an Uncharted spinoff before we get this Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Damn. But I would not be mad at that at all. I'm like, all right, give me more Uncharted, all the Uncharteds. I'm here for it.
I would never say no to that. I am curious what they would do next, unless they reboot it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Nate's got a daughter. We got Chloe doing stuff. You're fine.
Yeah, but I didn't even play the one without Nate. It's weird.
Yeah, it was kind of strange in my opinion. I also watched that one from afar. Did not play that personally, but
it's the best Uncharted game. They don't know what they're talking about.
What?
It legitimately is. That's not even. I'm not joking.
Interesting. I did buy the Uncharted collection. I'm not sure if it includes the last couple games, but at some point.
At least play the trilogy and then,
at some point those will get done. I'm excited for that.
Oh, I'm jealous. Those are great. That was a great.
That's on sale. It goes on sale all the time. Just keep your eye out.
I've done it before.
So you're just jealous. I get to play it for the first time.
Yeah.
I see.
Because I did that. I did that for that and God of War. The original God of War.
Yeah. Damn. Wow. We also have, apparently the next generation for Xbox might start in 2028. Ugh, that's crazy.
We're thinking so far. Can we just live in the now? Is that when new games are coming out? Because Jesus,
that tracks. That date tracks.
That's about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, other than Xbox to Xbox 360, they've all been 7 or 8.
Yeah.
It does, but I just got this fucking thing last year.
To be fair, Joel, that's another 5 years from now. So.
Also true.
When we're talking about the next generation, I'm still on this generation. We're talking about the new Switch. I'm down because obviously that's old already.
Right. Yeah.
But I ain't trying to think about the next PlayStation, Xbox. Not yet.
That's crazy.
This leads into the fact that we weren't supposed to think about this. We weren't supposed to have this information.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be thinking about the next gen.
True. Yeah. So don't buy any consoles 2027 or 2028. Wait for the announcement. But there's also some implications that Microsoft might be releasing a cloud-based handheld. I don't know if that's going to mirror the PlayStation Portal. I really hope not. Or if it's going to be something that's similar to the Vita, like you can talk with your cell phone provider and maybe get a SIM card, so that way you can connect to the internet wherever and play Xbox games where the internet is fast enough to run it. You have to add that one in there, but I can definitely see them doing this. Oh, go ahead, Trayvon.
I said a Game Pass device right there.
Yep. They've been talking about that. They've also, like I mentioned earlier, they're looking to be more sustainable, but also seems like they're looking to be more accessible, which is actually something that PlayStation and Nintendo have kind of struggled with, addressing, like, people that have these accessibility needs and kind of need to make those kind of adjustments. We've seen
Oh, is that why that controller just came out? The PlayStation one?
Which one is that? I don't think
it's like a round controller.
Yeah,
I
remember. Yeah, that was part of their it's an accessible controller.
It looked cool.
PlayStation's been doing a big push for their accessibility over the last couple of years, trying to improve it. So
that's why Last of Us has been like they've made a big push with accessibility there, along with other games too. So
that's smart and that's good.
Yeah, it's cool to see it have more people play the games they want to play in a way that's comfortable. What else? Oh, this is the weirdest thing that I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Apparently, there's a controller in the works, codenamed Sybil?
I was saying Sebile.
Sebile.
It's like maybe it is Sybil.
Sybil.
For sure.
Apparently that controller is going to be direct to cloud connectivity, or have direct to cloud connectivity. What do you guys think that means? You mean Stadia?
I think so. There was that article that was just talking about how threatened they felt at the onset of Stadia. Obviously it failed, so their threat didn't really hold out. But when it was announced, it was a big deal when Google first said that, hey, we're going to be able to show you these AAA games ran directly in the cloud. And that was right around the time, obviously, that these documents would have came out originally. So it makes sense that they would have felt threatened at the time and said, like, hey, let's fast track something that we think could be a direct competitor or better.
And that controller was like cloud connected. It wasn't like you had to. I don't think you had to pair it with like your actual TV or anything. I think it was
they had a and I'm sure it's gonna be the same way as this. They had like a little device thing,
Yeah,
they came with it, I believe.
So it's interesting you bring up Stadia. Rest in peace. So the guy that I've been referencing this whole podcast that I talked to earlier today, again, we were supposed to be on a business call. We just talked about games like for an hour. So that was it. But he said that he was probably the only person that I will have talked to, at least so far, that had the Stadia and loved it. He said he was able to play Cyberpunk and he had like no issues. He loved the game. Everything ran really smoothly for him. And I'm not too surprised by that. Stadia, the biggest hurdle for them was honestly a similar hurdle to Xbox, like having exclusives, having games that call people to the console. And even in that regard, Xbox has some exclusives. It has enough to keep them going, plus Game Pass, of course. Whereas Stadia, they're just, lagging behind there, which is unfortunately why it ended up shutting down. But now Google's trying to repurpose that technology with their YouTube like games beta thing that's going on. But interesting. Microsoft making a Stadia. I guess that kind of falls in line with like the streaming stick that has been referenced, and they say is like, they have Phil Spencer always has like the prototype in his background. He's like, yeah, this is something we were trying out, decided it didn't really work. Maybe it worked better than they thought, or maybe they revisited and said, hey, you know what, maybe there's something here that we should reinvestigate.
Would that be the 2028
Oh
next gen.
no. I don't think it could be.
That would be weird.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
that'd be
holiday.
something crazy would have to happen between now and 2028 for me to be like, yeah, I'm ready to buy my X streaming stick. Like, I don't know.
X streaming stick sounds weird.
That'll be
Yeah, I hope they would call it something better than that.
my X stick, my X stream.
Even better.
X stick sounds very X-rated.
Let's just
Hey, people
we'll
might be a
circle back
fan
to
of
this.
that.
How about that?
People might be a
Circle
fan
back.
of that.
X drive, I guess, or whatever.
X drive.
Well,
X drive works.
no comment.
I appreciate that, Trayvon.
Trayvon would get it. See,
We all
I
thank
would.
you.
we already got one person turned over.
All the right words today.
It's crazy to think the direction that gaming is heading with it, a lot of it being cloud-based, because another conversation I had with this man, again, we talked very long time about games, but another conversation that I had with this guy is the fact that being able to play games via cloud, like, you don't have to worry about the stress that it puts on, like, the physical system, like, you know, having to worry about your PS4 blow up or having to worry about your Switch blow up or anything.
Right.
Because a lot of that processing goes through the cloud. You just have to worry really about, like,
Your internet connection.
yeah, your internet connection and it's syncing up with the player's actions. But once you have that figured out, there's a lot of, like, really, like, computer intensive games that you could play via cloud once they have the internet situation figured out, which that is a big part of this mystery, but still, you know, interesting to see where things might go. Then to close things out, Red Dead 2 might get a next gen update, which is interesting considering Rockstar's recent endeavors with remastering and updating their games, in quotes. So, thinking about Red Dead 2 getting an update, I mean, at this point, you would hope that they learn, you know, you can't half-ass this. People really love your games and they want to play it in the best way possible at the best quality. You have to put in the time and the effort. So we'll see what happens with that, but honestly, GTA 6 might come out before a Red Dead 2.
It honestly needs to. They stop. I don't care about the remakes, the remasters. You have something that has a lot of people waiting on it that can make you a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Please put all your effort towards that.
10th anniversary.
They said they'll.
You know how much of a slap in the face that was. I saw people like, oh my God, happy 10th anniversary, and I'm like, all of y'all are dumb. Don't happy 10th anniversary them for this.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting that because I've never played San Andreas. I've never played San Andreas, and I really loved GTA 4. That wasn't a part of the trilogy, but I never played San Andreas or the original GTA or the second GTA. I've not played any
top-down ones.
Huh?
The top. I know. You're talking about like the GTA 1 and 2 that are top down.
No, yeah, I never played that. Wait, what was it? The trilogy?
No.
Was it 1, 2, 3, or was it 3, 4?
1, 2,
trilogy.
3.
The trilogy is 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's
Vice
what I thought.
City and San Andreas.
That's the second because that's the when
That's the
it
second
became.
trilogy.
Yeah, that's when it became not like I guess first person view, however you want to put it.
What
Like
we know it
yeah,
for.
top down.
right, what
Yeah.
you know how it is now.
Yeah,
The original is top down, yes.
No
Yeah.
one ever references those.
I saw
That's
that.
why I
I
didn't
saw it
even
in a
assume
gaming
she was
history
talking about
video. I'm like, damn, I didn't know GTA was like that.
Yep,
Nah,
I remember having it.
Actually, you
This
know
is
what?
me
I feel
learning.
like I played either the original GTA or like somebody copied the game and made it different and put it on like a website like Cool Math Games. I feel like I've definitely played that game.
It could have. I remember having Grand Theft Auto 2 though. It was top down. I was like, man, this game kind of is okay. It's never gonna be that great. Then when GTA 3 came out, I was like, oh, this is a whole new game. Well, never mind.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's right, it was 3, wasn't it?
Mhm.
It was Liberty.
Vice
Right.
City, San Andreas, and
Vice
5.
City, San Andreas.
And
then
4.
Oh, well, see,
Yeah.
I never played 4 or
4
5.
is cool.
I have
Four-
no idea what the difference is. All I did in them games was get in cars, rob people, shoot people, do a
Why I
cheat
didn't play
code,
them.
get the rocket launcher, It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I did. I
No
didn't do
prostitutes.
no missions. Just run there, cause hell. It was fun.
That's what it was. That's what it was known for.
All I
more
did.
than actual
Yeah.
story. Even though I heard the stories are really good.
My sister played the stories. I thought, oh, that's nice. You can do all that.
Yeah, I was actually kind of into the story for 4. I used to watch my cousin play GTA 4 a lot, so
I remember the stories.
Going.
They were good.
Yeah.
I like being chased by the cops and then getting away from them. That was fun.
Yeah.
Vice City was one of the better stories of all of them.
Vice City, I think I played the most of all 3 of the original.
That story was, it was great.
The 3 trilogy. I don't even know what to call it. The 3 trilogy. The Liberty City stories, like those 3.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which one did the meme come from? Like the shit, he be going.
That's San Andreas.
Like that takes place in the San Andreas, which is like California, like down that way.
Like I said, for the most part, if you're talking what started Grand Theft Auto, no one really talks about 1, 2, or London.
London.
Really? Yeah, London came. So it was 1, London, then 2.
Oh. Wow.
And then, like I said, nobody really talks about those ones. Really, 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 4, 5, and then what needs to be 6.
Never heard of most of these. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know about London.
1, 2, 3, London. I thought they all had a city. Vice City, San Andreas.
No. 3 was the first one. I think 1 and 2 might have technically been Liberty City, but 3 that's when, like I said, it really took off.
It was 3, and then when it got re-released, it was Liberty City. Like, so
yeah, I think 4 is in Liberty City.
Well, they had Liberty City Stories, which was like the it was sort of like the I guess expansion packs is the best way to put it.
Right.
I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
I drove around a lot.
I've also played a lot. It's one of my top played games on Xbox. GTA 5 is, I should say.
Never owned one, but I did play it.
I've owned, I think, every single one.
Damn, he's a real fan. I see. All right. Well, that concludes all the Xbox leaks. It's quite a lot of information to digest, and who knows, there might be even more information that comes out in the next few days. It's hoping nobody messes up with the documents again, but did you guys have any other thoughts on this? Or maybe even, I know a lot of you guys are PlayStation fans. How are you guys feeling about this news? And what do you think this means in terms of PlayStation, as far as like, oh, they're doing this thing, let's do this? What do you hope comes out of this for PlayStation?
They're doing fine. I don't care.
Well, we'll start with Joel. Mr. Xbox.
I I'm not worried about whatever. Do them. They do need to get their actual own like IPs to work first, and then they'll get there. I mean, I have a feeling they'll eventually figure it out. Hopefully before 2028, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that point, they're not selling nothing if they don't. Yeah, like if they don't figure it out, there will be no Brooklyn or
like you said, they do have games. It's just they're not my type of games a lot of the time. You know, I don't really like a lot of. I feel like Xbox has always been geared towards first person shooters, and I'm not a first person shooter guy. I feel like they really like to dig into like the Call of Duty fan base, and I don't really play Call of Duty. You know, so like it's always been not my. I like third person action games. You know, actually cinematic stories. Like a lot of that comes
PlayStation
from
games.
PlayStation games, and that's more my style.
I mean,
that's really why there's a disconnect there. They don't really cater to me.
Just to interject, I feel like the whole like, let's make a film out of this kind of game concept didn't necessarily start with PlayStation, and it's kind of it's like a newer thing for games, because before it, like, if you go back and look at some of these older games, you can tell like what generation they came from. Like we had the desaturated kind of gray looking games, and then they had like the very saturated cutesy kind of games, and now we're kind of moving into like really pushing gaming as an art form. I won't like refute the fact that PlayStation has definitely stepped up to the plate with adding to a lot of the like cinematics and stuff that now we expect from games and that kind of quality. But it's kind of like, you know, they're following the wave. They might have been ahead on the wave, but they're following the wave. They're following the wave.
I guess the reason we call them PlayStation games is because that is PlayStation's identity.
Yeah, it is their identity. Yeah.
From Uncharted and on the PS3 all the way to now, right? We had Uncharted franchise, you had The Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima. Like all of their games are third-person action, story-driven adventures. You know. So
Xbox had Halo, but Halo's story is incoherent for the most part, so it doesn't make the same impact, you know.
It's outdated.
But that's exactly why we say PlayStation games, because like Nintendo, their games have story.
Yeah.
But when you think of Nintendo, you're thinking of Mario, maybe Zelda with their stories, you know.
And it's what do you call something when the movie comes out to say the same day, but they're attracting a different audience? What do they call it?
Oh.
Like so they don't get in each other's way.
Oh.
Yeah, it's counter programming.
That's what Nintendo is to me.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't get what I get from it. I can't get Nintendo anywhere but Nintendo, and that's why I went back to Nintendo. Because when I feel retro, I want to go back to the way I used to play games. I go back to Nintendo. Those are the games I grew up with, that IP I connect with. That's why I did go back to Nintendo. You know? Yeah. But it's still not my main system. If I'm picking between Xbox and PlayStation, even though the consoles to me aren't that big, very different.
Yeah.
The exclusives make the difference because I've been playing those franchises since the first PlayStation came out. And I did there was a moment around I was in high school at this time, so I'm a little bit older. But I was deciding between the PS2 or the Xbox, the original Xbox. I didn't know what to get, you know. And I already had the PS1. I liked the PS1, but I want something new. The Xbox was fresh. It was cool. Looked cool.
Yeah, the Rock was showing it off.
Right. Oh, I was all over the place. But then I'm like, you know what? The PlayStation 2 was backwards compatible at the time, so I'm like, I can play I don't have to automatically get new games right away. I can play my old games on there. So that really was the deciding factor at the end of the day. But they also had a lot of exclusives that I preferred those exclusives over whatever the Xbox was giving. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah.
It is fun.
The thing that sticks out to me from all of this is just, and this is like, I make fun of it because it's a little funny, but like the idea that they announce their next generation and then PlayStation announces theirs, and we find out that they're just slightly less powerful in the Xbox. And Phil Spencer's like, yes, we got them, boys. We beat them in software. We beat them in hardware. We're going to win this generation. Like, and it's more of the same so far. It's just, it's kind of funny. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny.
I would say, I don't know, the Xbox One, that generation is very sad. Very sad. Like, Xbox they did not have their head on straight. They didn't have their goals right. They were looking towards, like, TV and movie when they should have just been focusing on games instead of trying to make the Xbox a cable box. So, and it's Phil Spencer has talked about this before, about like that generation really setting them behind because they didn't have their priorities straight. But now that we are just mainly focusing on games, I should say, because even now, you know, Game Pass will give you like Crunchyroll or PlayStation Plus, or not PlayStation Plus, Disney Plus, or things like that. That would be so funny.
That'd be wild.
That'd be crazy.
PlayStation Plus on Game Pass.
Hey, you know what? I would take it, honestly. I don't want to pay for more. Let's have multiplayer be free, okay? PC players don't have to pay for multiplayer. Why do console players have to do it? Like, let's just have it be free. That's a different conversation for another time. But no,
preaching to the choir.
I see what y'all are saying. I see.
To your point about the gap, you think that is better this generation? It markedly is. I was looking at the numbers while you were talking, and to your point of last generation, PlayStation sold about double.
Yeah.
About 100, a little over double actually. It was 115 million to about 50 million. Right now, and these latest numbers are as of May, because I think they do it quarterly. Well, no, because then we should. Yeah, no. If it was May, then they probably haven't gotten them the last quarter's numbers yet.
Yeah.
The gap's at about 14 million right now, almost 15. So it's still a large gap, and to the point it is rising, which is probably not favorable for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not rising at the rate that you can see from the charts from the other one. Like, it started at a pretty sizable gap and just got bigger.
Yeah.
This one is sort of one of those ones where PlayStation's growing, Xbox is also growing, but not necessarily to the state that PlayStation is. So like they're both still on an upward trajectory still.
Right. And I think the other thing about it too is the fact that up until probably a couple months ago, they were still developing for the Xbox One. So now
Right.
I think probably the end of this year we'll really see if the Xbox Series X will stand the test of time, as far as, are people really committing to this console? Are they just sticking with PC? Or is it really that PlayStation is that dominant in this market? Or I guess maybe Nintendo, because Nintendo's also a big player there. Well,
Which one's the
I mean,
X? The X is the newest one?
the
Series X, yeah.
Series
And
X is the
that I was just about to bring this up, is that they may not be selling as much because people don't even know what to buy, because they're so confusing. Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox
Yeah.
Series S, Xbox Series X.
Don't forget, there was an Xbox One X.
Yep,
Yeah,
there
and
was
you
an
don't
Xbox One
know
X.
which
What?
generation you're buying, whereas PlayStation keeps it clean. PS5.
Yeah.
It's the fifth
boring,
one.
but
There you go.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also the problem the Wii U had. People didn't even know that was a new console. They just thought that was like a tablet that you connect to your original Wii for like years.
They're like, this is new? Fuck.
Yeah.
It was.
Xbox is not good with the names, not gonna lie.
They got it right
I
the
mean,
first time.
let's be real. They shot themselves in the foot when they went to 360, because they wanted to go flashy
Yeah.
and not go Xbox 2. But from
Yeah,
there,
it
they
worked.
just didn't. It did. 360 was an amazing system, but
It was great.
naming wise, it wasn't, because then it was, where do you go from here? You know, remember when Xbox One was about to come out?
Yeah.
Everybody was,
They go
oh yeah, it's gonna be the
backwards.
Xbox 720.
Right,
you know,
right.
And when it didn't, and they went backwards to Xbox One, then it's like, well, you just ruined all of this, because
Yeah,
are you
Mortal
gonna call the
Kombat.
next one Xbox 2? What, you know? So it was just all weird.
X2
Yeah.
United.
The guy, I
never
can't even
makes
remember
sense.
the guy
It's
that
all
came
the
before
one.
Phil Spencer, but yeah, he messed things up bad for Xbox that generation.
Xbox One.
It was
Yeah.
yeah,
And then,
it was rough. It was very
so the newest ones are called Series S.
yes. They're
Series
the
S and X.
Series
Now
X
X
and
is the X is like the upgraded version of S.
yes.
Essentially,
X is
yeah.
the most powerful console.
Why can't they just do like the iPhone thing and be like Pro or Max or something that indicates that it's a higher version? Because just saying X, I don't know what that means, you know? And I think branding is it's really hard. Again, when you think about a big demographic of people buying these are parents who are just gonna put a box under the Christmas tree and they don't know which one to get. And it's kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
I
was-
can't imagine how many people bought the wrong Xbox.
So there was many stories about that, about parents who were getting scammed or just anything, because somebody online would be like, oh yeah, I'll sell you this Xbox One S or this Xbox One X, and you think you're getting your kid the latest system because you don't know what that is. And then all of a sudden now, when he opens it, he's like, oh, I have this already. It's just, it
Damn.
was the Xbox, you know, it's like, you just got the same system because you thought it was the new one because you don't know the naming convention.
Yeah. So would it be weird now to go like the Xbox 4, like the Xbox 5?
Yes, it would.
It would be
Do
weird,
alpha, beta.
but like they might have to sacrifice a generation to just get back on track. So if they name the next one Xbox 5 and then go Xbox 6, they might be okay from that point.
Or you do like how Apple
Man.
did with their MacBooks, and they're all everything other than the iPhone were just Xbox.
The year?
Xbox
Oh.
Pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do that.
you could just do that, because then people still, like, when they refer to like movies and there's like they do a remake, they just use the year to differentiate.
Yeah.
So that could work.
Mhm.
Xbox.
Yeah,
One.
like that's exactly what they do with a MacBook. You figure like, oh, it's the MacBook, the 2020 of it edition,
Right.
the 2022 one.
Yep.
If the Xbox is still a box in 2028,
Oh man.
well,
It's
then
already
it
not a
makes
box.
sense to change-
The X Sphere.
No. They threw that out. They threw that out. It's gotta
It
be a
wasn't
box.
even a sphere. The X cylinder.
The cylinder, man. The Xil.
Yeah.
We can't do
Like
that.
X Drive, if it goes full digital, like
The X
It's
drive.
actually kind of
X
works.
drive.
Honestly.
it does. It sounds good.
Oh man, we'll have to see. But hopefully next time we get on this podcast, we can talk about something PlayStation. Whether it be Spider-Man or something else. I don't know. I would love to hear from PlayStation. They've been kind of quiet since Summer Game Fest, honestly. So
We just had a state of play.
You're right. I forgot about it, kind of,
It was
sort
pretty
of.
good.
But
alright.
it was quiet in the terms of there wasn't really anything new. It was kind of
Nothing
mostly
major.
things that
Yeah, they were
we
sort
already
of
knew
showing
about.
what we already saw.
Yeah, not saying you have
Final
to do something
Fantasy
new
got a
every
date.
time.
I'm
But
happy.
Well, that was the best part. We got
that
Final
was the
Fantasy,
best part of the state of play.
some Spider-Man stuff.
But even still, I don't know. Just to me, it feels like PlayStation usually has a much stronger voice, but this year it's been kind of quiet, in my opinion. Even with they do have quality titles coming out this year. I don't know. It feels like they usually have a little bit more bite to them. Maybe the FTC is taking up their time.
Trash.
It's because they're what?
It was because the showcase was trash. Like they gave us their showing for the year.
Yeah,
but
But
it
you
was
would
trash.
think, you would think it's like, oh, okay, people didn't like that. Well, let's hit them with something crazy then. Like that's what I would do personally. I'm like, okay, you didn't like this. Let me give you like the craziest announcement I can give you right now. So that way, you're back in the
they have their
conversation.
announcements though, but that was their announcement.
I feel like
That's
they
the sad
do.
part.
There's so many things we don't know about. I just want to know about these things, man. But
Yeah, we got next year.
not. Oh my God, no. That's so.
It's been a busy
time.
year.
That's a long time for nothing.
we might have next year, depending on how this
man.
the strike resignation is gonna happen.
Oh, actually, you know what? Did we talk about the strike while recording, or was that? When did we talk about that? Was that off cam?
I can't remember.
Well, anyway. Huh?
Are you still recording right now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
But Mike, so we were talking earlier. I can't remember if it was on or off podcast. If it was, then I'll just like zoom through this. We'll just be little mousy voices. But you talked about earlier the fact that the AMPTP have met with SAG and the WGA, and it seems like things are turning up for the better. Do you feel like video games and like actors' involvement in that, and maybe even writers? I don't know why they didn't extend that to writers, but maybe even writers. Do you think that's something that might have been discussed in the contracts recently as well, or in the negotiations, I should say?
It's possible. I feel like, unfortunately, the gaming industry might be secondary in these conversations.
Yeah.
But we had people
enough, even though it makes way more money. But
Right.
We had Bob Iger. We had David Zaslav. We had like the studio CEOs finally showed up because they weren't even showing up to these meetings. They were just sending assistants and other people to do the negotiations for them. So they finally had movement because they need to get this done. I think we talked in the chatter after about like Warner Brothers losing millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so they're finally willing to meet with the writers. So I think eventually everybody is going to get a version of what they want, except for the studios. But when it comes to the gaming industry, that might be something that they discuss tomorrow at the time of this recording, or even the day after. Like, I think they need to get some sort of structure down. Like the news coming out of it is that they've made progress. And I don't know how much progress that would be, because at first they were talking for over 100 days now. So I don't know what progress means, but I think we're on the right track. I don't know how much that'll affect this industry though, as of right now, especially since this is the WGA. I know SAG is still another completely different negotiation they're going to have to do later on.
I think SAG, the WGA is harder overall than the SAG, but but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Do you think if this goes well for them, there'll just be more strikes from other groups.
I thought about that, and honestly, yes.
Yeah, it probably will be, especially if they get an extremely favorable deal. We talked about it before about how, yes, obviously the voice actors and the motion capture actors, that's going to be a huge thing for gaming. But just that day that the developers decide we're striking or we're unionizing and then we're striking, that's the day I think gaming comes to the halt, because that's when anything that's just even in development is halted.
Yeah.
And we already know how long games take to get developed.
How many stories of crunch do we hear on all
right.
the time? Of I had to work 21 hours, 7 days straight to make sure we got this game in time.
Too, right? Didn't they just unionize too?
Did they? Oh, let me look.
I don't know actually. I know. Yeah, the VFX people.
No, VFX did.
But no, I, as much as it would hurt me as far as gaming wise would go, I would love for game developers to unionize or have some sort of way where they can fight back against crunch and these very unhealthy things. And also animators, especially animators in Japan, they should have so much more than they're getting right now.
It's said that it's a meme of the people at MAPPA are struggling because they got to go do One Punch Man season 3.
Yeah,
right.
That shouldn't even be a meme at this point of how overworked they are making all these shows.
Yeah, it's funny in a sad way. We shouldn't have to have those kinds of jokes, and no art I think is worth somebody losing their life over, or just not being able to live the life that they want to live. I think a lot of the art would be better if people had better living conditions, because then they'd really be able to devote them full selves to it and enjoy the process. But damn, yeah, it would suck to lose that much time and not have that content, whether it be movies, TV, or games. But as people in this community that want to be a part of the entertainment business, we also don't want to be subjected to those kinds of conditions. So it's something that needs to be done and addressed.
That's why Game Pass has 1 million games.
That's why we all need to be getting paid in Game Pass. Exactly, Mike. Everybody converts to Xbox.
I will start striking today if that's how we're getting paid. I'm officially going on strike.
Game Pass, G Fuel, some Doritos.
Oh yeah, I'm on strike.
You're making the sweatiest gamer ever with this analogy. I don't know where you're going.
Hey man, y'all know I've been hanging out with some sweaty gamers. But thank y'all for joining me to talk about some Xbox, for suffering through it. I know y'all, PlayStation, that's your home. That's what y'all enjoy.
That's why I wear blue and white.
Damn, dude, no. For
no,
real?
I'm just kidding. I just happen to have a blue shirt on.
Sorry, expensive they are. You gotta pick one, and then I picked the one.
They are expensive. You do. Most people do have to pick one. But yeah, tell the people what they should be supporting you on, Trayvon.
Nerdwiththetech everywhere. That's it.
Let them know.
Let them know you got some videos coming.
By the time this is out, let them know. I want it on record so that way everybody can point at you and be like, "Where's this video?"
Let them know what you got coming out.
I mean,
harass.
Yeah, that's what this is. I should be doing.
He will be.
He will be doing.
I'll do unboxing videos of the new iPhone and the Apple Watch. So when I get so that'll be fun.
There you go. Everybody look forward to that. I'll put a link in the description when it drops. Hopefully,
I'm not convinced he's gonna do it the way he sounds.
No, he's gonna do it.
No, it's on record.
This group is very good at bullying. We're gonna.
I don't want us to have bully allegations.
Hey man, I will be the first one to say they bully me all the time. Send help, Mike. what can the people? How can the people support you?
Novice Cinephile on X, formerly known as Twitter. The Novice Cinephile.
Who just gagged at that?
That was me.
That was so aggressive.
It was.
Might not be on that much longer. Every time I make it.
Oh, yeah, that's
The
true.
Novice Cinephile on Threads and Instagram. And of course, YouTube. The Chatter After. We're talking twice a week over there. The Amateur Otaku. We're also talking anime. We're there on Thursdays, so make sure you check out those streams. And Collider.com. I just reviewed The Continental, so check that out too.
Yeah, check it out. Joelle, how can I support you? How can the people support you? Besides getting you an Xbox.
They could avoid that as much as possible. If you want to support me, buy a PlayStation.
Damn, don't do that. Don't listen to that.
Dang.
Jim Ryan needs your support.
Yeah, because Sony needs more money, obviously. You can follow me on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. J27. Same thing on Instagram if you can do, but that's where I'm at if you need me.
All right, and Didge, how can we support?
You can follow me at Didge, DIDGE_DEE everywhere. Threads, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. TikTok, I think everywhere. Yeah, that's about right. Instagram. You can follow my podcast, Geekset Podcast, at Geekset Podcast, also in all those locations as well.
Yeah, what about EditFest, Didge? What about EditFest?
Well, that's not out yet, so I mean, I don't know when this is going up. What if the video isn't out yet?
You got the channel up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the name channel or anything. It's just my personal YouTube page.
Damn
so
it, Didge.
it'll be but it'll also be Didge_D. It's my branding is going to be the same.
One job, Didge. Okay. One job.
The branding will be the same everywhere.
Okay,
the whole point is to have it the same everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you just search that on Google, it should be me.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming to chat with me once again. Enjoy it as always. And for those listening at home, if you enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so that way you get notifications on when the next podcast comes out. And until next time, hope everybody has a nice eating or night. Whatever's enjoy it, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Tata bayo.